Greetings, YouTube. A friend of mine contacted me recently about a problem she is having in a gaming group that she was, past tense, a member of. The group was running a superheroes game, and she's relatively new to role-playing. She's played one other role-playing game, Iron Heroes, I believe. I don't remember which version she played, which engine was running it, but she enjoyed that. And she decided she wanted to play this Heroes game. And she came up with a character. A young girl, homeless, became a hero, wants to become a metahuman, wants to become heroic and things like that. And she enjoyed the group, even though she was the least experienced in the group, and she needed help playing the game. Now, one of the reasons she needed help playing the game is they chose Hero. Now, Hero is a very complex system. It's got a lot of things in it. It's very flexible. It can probably run anything under the sun if you want to with Hero. But Hero 5th edition is like a 700-page book. And the 6th edition is 2 books. I think they're both running in the 400 to 500-page range. It's like reading a chemical textbook, a chemistry textbook. It is not what I would consider a game well chosen for a new player. Savage World would be a better choice for a brand new player, or my preference in superhero games would be DC Adventures, or the generic version thereof, Mutants and Mastermind 3. DC Adventures has the advantage that you have the Heroes and Villains books as reference if you want to use them, and you have so many things to use in there for prototypes for the kind of heroes you want to play. You can just file off a name, play a character from that book, and you're good to go. You wouldn't have to do any character creation. You could just say, I play this character, I rename it, let's go! And I like the way it's run, and yes, it is D20 based, because I'm a sucker for the D20 system. But that isn't the main problem she was having. Mechanics aside, her main problem is that one of the players took the story arc they were running and took it in an entirely new direction without asking the rest of the people in the group. Now, at first, I'm like, well, that's kind of weird that one person could do this. So I asked a few questions, and my friend gave me some more answers. And it comes to be that this individual, the one that's changing the story arc, lives with the Game Master. So you got 2 people living together who are in each other's head as far as gaming is concerned on a regular basis, on a daily basis. Now, the campaign had been running was a super campaign, in the sense that the player characters were a super team going out to fight crime, that kind of thing. And this player, took the game and moved it into the direction of becoming anti-heroes at best and bad guys at worst. So, move the entire game into a new direction. 2 of the players in the group, my friend and another, have decided they want to bow out. That they don't want to play in a game that has shifted this severely. Is not what they wanted to do for their game. It's not the style they want to play. The rest of the people have decided they're going to stay around and play it, which is their right. The problem is that these decisions were made without the inclusion of the rest of the group. This was done between these 2 people who live together. And when that kind of thing happens, you have 2 people living together who are involved in such a cooperative, in-depth, detailed hobby as role-playing games. I feel that occasionally you can have something I could refer to as creative inbreeding. That they begin to get inside each other's head to the point where ideas begin to stack, and these ideas only make real sense and are fully justified within the reality that these people have created. So from an outside observer, you're like, well, how did you get to, point M from A? I mean, I can't see how you did that. These people, however, because they are always together, because they're always working on these things, intentionally or not, they can see the chain of causation clearly and are confused how everyone else cannot see the chain of causation. And this kind of a derail, literally a derail, is unfair to other players. Role-playing games are a cooperative game. We're all creating this together. We're all doing this together. Yes, there's one person in charge. And yes, I am old school in the sense that I believe the GM should be the one creating the storyline and reacting to what players do, but they should still be the director. I'm not so much into the whole actor studio concept of, improvisational inclusion of all the players taking over the storyline. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not into story games. It's not my thing. And I just prefer to have one guy in charge and then play in the world they create and help them move it in different directions, but do so with the inclusion of the group. Now, yes, individual characters will do things that do move the storyline from place to place. But if they're going to be taking the game into an entirely new direction, completely from where it was, you need to include the rest of the people. Things can naturally evolve, and then things can be artificially forced to evolve. And when you do the latter, that's raining on everyone's parade. And everyone needs to have fun. The GM and all the players have to be involved. And when you aren't, there's something wrong. You need group consensus when it comes to things like that. Which is one of the reasons I believe in creating the characters together, not necessarily, they're all brothers and sisters. No, all the players coming together and creating the justification. Why do these people know each other? As I've said in the past, if you got 5 guys sitting at a bar and something goes down behind them, there's no reason that they all suddenly decide to become a group and go after that. You need a reason for them to join forces. They're all cops. They're all firemen. They're all college students from the same school. They're on the same baseball team. Something. Some can make some connection that pulls them together as a group socially. The characters know each other on some level. So there's a sense of loyalty, of solidarity, of sorority or fraternity between them. And that is what becomes the nexus of the group. If it's just 5 guys or women sitting at a bar, you're going to get 5 different reactions when something goes down. And that isn't going to make for a very interesting game if you've got a GM trying to juggle 5 separate storylines. And when one person decides that they're going to move the entire story arc into a new direction, that's raining on everybody's fun. And I don't have a solution. I wish I did. Go out and find a new group. And talk to the group beforehand. Create your group together. Make sure all the players have a reason to know each other. Make sure all the characters are going to get along together. Yes, there could be a loner in the group, I guess. But if they're a full-out anti-hero that wants nothing to do with the cooperation, you're not the boss of me, man! Well, then that isn't a group. That's a group with a single player in it. And if that single player is then going to take the game constantly in a direction that's all about him or her, that's no fun for the rest of the people. If you want to play a solo game, cool. You and the GM, go play a solo game. I've done it. With mixed results. I prefer running for groups in the 4 to 5 person range. But you don't take a group's activity and change it to the point where members of the group decide we're going to leave because we no longer want to play this activity. That's not fair. And to borrow the phrase of Will Wheaton, don't be a dick. Or my version thereof, don't be an asshat, because there's no gender bias there in that statement. So, I'm looking for advice. In the situation I've described, one person taking a story arc into a new direction, and then the 2 people in question, the GM and this one person, are roommates, are living together. What would you do? What would your reaction be? Would you leave? Would you stay? Would you fight for your game? Would you make sure that when the group was formed that this kind of thing can't happen, or at least mitigate as many of the possible, variables as you can? What would you do? I'm interested in knowing, because I'd like to have an answer here. I'd like to help my friend. At the moment, she's just leaving the group, and she's kind of upset, and I can understand it. She has every justification in being upset. So I'm trying to help her, trying to give her some advice maybe that she can use in the future to avoid this kind of problem from occurring again. So tell me out there in the YouTube RPG Brigade, what would you do in this situation?